Babylon said jail for me, but the judge said bail for me. Somebody tell the jury, Jah control my destiny. Yeah man, off key and everything. Welcome back to SouFLoTV. It is your host with the most. Today is the 28th of July. 2024. And I start off by saying today is the 28th of July because the judge who is the lead judge in this appeal hearing as Vybz Kartel, Sean Storm and other brother fight for their freedom told us that by the end of July we will know exactly where this case stands, what will happen next. Meaning, will there be a retrial or will there be freedom and an acquittal? Will they throw the case out completely or will they take it back to trial again? Everybody knows that we are hoping that justice is served, that the case is thrown out, completely acquitted, no need for a retrial, and the men walk out of prison after 13 years of incarceration. A lot of people have been saying, SouFlo, you should get the first Vybz Kartel interview. And I said, no. First of all, we don't do this for clout. We don't do this because we want an interview. Remember, I know, when Vybz Kartel went in, a lot of people wanted him to do 35 years plus. I explained to everybody that that sentence was super unfair, especially in a country like Jamaica. Why? Because if you look at almost everybody else that was convicted of murder, they got way less time. And they were able to either get out or are going to get out in way less time. Vybz Kartel's sentence kind of had no end to it. And I want you to go back and study that first. No end to it meaning when they said 35 before you are eligible for parole, that simply means there is no set date for you to come out. They have to determine when you are eligible for parole or if they feel like you are rehabilitated, or basically with all the bias that's going on in this particular case, when they feel like they want to let you out. So you could have done 35 and they will have you there for 35 more. You understand? Now, based on all of that and where we are at now with this case, I want people to understand that we don't do this for clout. We followed this case because we simply studied this case. We walked through the entire case multiple times over the years, and we found that this case was unjustly tried in the first place for multiple reasons. The proof is in the pudding, my friend. They took this case to Privy Council all the way to the UK to be told exactly what we have been saying since day one. That case needs to be thrown out. That case was not properly tried. That case was tried with a whole lot of friggery and foolishness in it. Alright, fast forward for all the Vybz Kartel fans around the world who do tune into SouFLoTV. We don't do these videos just for Jamaica. The world is big. And we have the internet now, which is pretty much streamed in almost every country across the globe. And a lot of people from a lot of different places, a lot of different countries and different continents tune in right here and ask us, SouFlo, what's going on with the Vybz Kartel case, man? Are they going to let him go? Can you tell us what's next? Well, today, the 28th of July, 2024, we're calling this one 3 Days to Freedom. The reason why we're calling it 3 Days to Freedom is because we're anticipating that the judge or judges will hold true to their word, that by the end of July we will know. Now the end last day of July is 3 days away. My prediction from the beginning was that they were going to scrape this all the way to the end. There will not be a expeditious situation where they had went in and given us an answer in 2 weeks. Remember, it was June 18th that they announced that we would hear the outcome by the end of July. June 18th, from June 18th to July 28th is well over a month. June 18th to July 18th is roughly a month. So we're into like a month and a week, a month and going on 2 weeks, right? And my words have come to pass that they have scraped this all the way to the end. They have wringed the juices out of this one. They have squeezed it to get as much as they could out of it. This is it. In the process, many things have been happening behind the scenes, to include the lead judge on this hearing being promoted to the president of the Court of Appeals, high-ranking position in authority. Justice Marvin McDonald. Big up to her for her promotion. But what's happening now? My prediction is that these men will be let out. My prediction is that they have been moving biased. So based on the biasness that I've seen, I'm thinking they are going to grant a retrial, because I see where people are connected to this situation. Let's not bite our tongues and talk. The original prosecutor on this case, Paula Llewellyn, I have come to learn that Paula Llewellyn was connected to the lead judge on this case. And she was connected in a manner where the lead judge on this case worked at the DPP as a prosecutor under her boss, Paula Llewellyn, who was the head of the DPP. I feel like behind the scenes, they are having these conversations and someone is feeling like you owe some form of loyalty, you owe a favor, etc. Listen, Jamaica is obviously not ran by just the law. A lot of backdoor deals take place. A lot of underhanded-ish takes place. A lot of backstabbing takes place. A lot of favor for a favor takes place. A lot of Jamaicans know this. If you don't have certain connections to certain families, or your name doesn't ring bells because you come from a certain family who owns this or is prominent here or there, you can't even get into certain positions in certain places, no matter how qualified you are. So we all know that. Now, in the Vybz Kartel case, and where they're supposed to be coming up with a speedy verdict, I want to remind everybody that when Isaac Buchanan filed for Vybz Kartel case to be heard at Privy Council level, he filed later on for it to be expedited. And it was supposed to be expedited based on Vybz Kartel's health condition. You know, they have medical experts that have given their take on his medical condition. And I'm thinking Kartel makes suffering look good. I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. He is incarcerated. His condition is getting worse. The last time we heard, his heart is operating, I believe, at 50% capacity. He has Graves' disease, which is exacerbated by or worsened by the environment that he is in. Never mind that the Privy Council find it important to speed up the date that they would hear this case, just so that they would be in the right. Because this is a ground within the law that you can apply for, and they were granted it. So on the Jamaica end, the Jamaica Court of Appeals should have sped up theirs as well, but they didn't speed it up. As you can see, June 18th, July 28th, we're still waiting. So there's no urgency on the part of Jamaica, which I'm learning now that all these judges in Jamaica and all these persons in positions of power, they dress nicely, they come before you, they're well spoken, with a big smile on their face, while they're in the army in the United States of America, we would say, while they're fucking you with a donkey dick, right? In other words, pardon my language though, I didn't mean to curse, but I had to do it to bring this point across. In other words, don't watch the pretty smiles, don't watch the nice talking, the eloquency, don't watch any of that. Don't watch their position of power they're in, the title of such position. Just know that they all play for a certain team. The agenda is real, and they don't play fair. If they played fair, the Court of Appeals in Jamaica would have expedited this case, just like how the Privy Council, the court above them, expedited this case. I'll repeat what I've said before many times. The Jamaica justice system at the level of the appeal court and at the level of the Department of Public Prosecution, they are embarrassed. And the circuit court, the entire system is embarrassed. They are embarrassed because of the way they tried the Vybz Kartel case. It's been over a decade. They did not think that that case would go to the Privy Council and it would be, their verdict would have been shot down. Remember, Vybz Kartel's case went all the way to Privy Council only for the verdict to be quashed. Someone is listening right now who is new to this, who is wondering, what does quashed mean? It means the case went to the highest court and the verdict of guilty and the sentence of life in prison were thrown out. And I know this is where everybody starts saying, so if that was thrown out, how come they're still incarcerated? Well, the verdict is thrown out, means the men are no longer guilty, means the sentence that they were given of 35 for Vybz Kartel before parole no longer stands, but the charge still stands. So they are still citizens of Jamaica who have been charged with murder. It is up to the courts in Jamaica now to decide at the appeal level if they want to retry this case or if they want to have an acquittal based on many things, including the grave mistake they made and how they arrived at an impure verdict and sentenced these men under a faulty verdict. Do they want to make some restitution, even the scales, and say, okay, we've got 13 years out of you guys incarcerated already. Go about your business. We will acquit. We'll just throw the case out. But I can't help but to think that somebody is thinking, oh, shit. They're going to sue us. And the monetary damages in this is a lot. Let's not forget, Vybz Kartel is a high earner. He was a high earner before he even went to prison. So if you should somehow calculate what he would have earned over a decade, that's an insurmountable amount of money to be paid back. Add Sean Storm to that as well. Sean Storm was a touring, working, recording artist who was making good money as well. Right now, they are even calculating how much it would cost to retry this case. And we have calculated retrying this case and Vybz Kartel and his team fighting again through a retrial all the way up to a Privy Council if they come back with another verdict of guilty. We're talking about $500 million Jamaican dollars, and somewhere in that field, when you factor in lawyers' fees, when you factor in everything that it's going to cost and has to be repaid, and it's going to be like $500 million Jamaican dollars with a B. I have never seen Jamaica's justice system go after anybody with this much vigor. Nobody. I think it's time that they put it to rest. The judge said, we will not give a retrial. I will not grant a retrial if all of the original witnesses from the first case are not available. It turns out they can't really find those witnesses, but it seems like they have given them time from the 18th of June to the 28th of July, today when I'm doing this video. I think they were giving the prosecution enough time to gather all their witnesses, to do all the background work, to put their case solid together, to line out pen and paper the cost of a new trial and how it's going to be paid for. Everything. So let's see if they used that time wisely. Let's see if they have that sheet of paper that has the address of every witness. Let's see if they have a deal on paper where every witness has signed to say, yes, I am available. Let's see if they have a phone number linking them to each witness where they can go before the judge, because the judge made it clear already. I don't want to see a sheet of paper with just names on it. I need to know that you know where these witnesses reside. I need to know that you have spoken to these witnesses. You are in contact with them. And they have told you, they have agreed to you verbally that they are ready and they will be there if a new trial is granted. I'm not sending this case back to a lower court for you guys to be over there chasing behind witnesses. That was the judge's words. Let's see if this judge can stand on her words. And if she stands on her words and they don't have all the witnesses, and if she stands on her words, it's the end of July. 3 days to freedom. Today is the 28th. Tomorrow is Monday the 29th. You have the 30th, and the last day will be the 31st. Between the 30th and the 31st is when we will hear what happens, because my original prediction was that they would squeeze it to the last day. And look, they have. They're not unpredictable. As a matter of fact, they operate very predictable. This is why we should be credible, because we're able to read them and know what it is they're going to do next. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me, do you think that there should be a retrial in this case? Or do you think that this case should be thrown out? Are you one of the people who used to just say, lock them up and keep them in there, but you've come to study the case and you've changed your mind? Do you think that this case is being dealt with fairly? Or do you think they are being malicious, dragging their feet purposely, not expediting this case or dealing with it in an expeditious manner because they are being vindictive? That's my take. My take is that they are embarrassed and they're trying to figure out the best way to save face. Let's see what happens next. 3 days to freedom. I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.